Thank you.
The next in our lineup is Matthieu CHATELIN from France. Matthieu is a member of the executive committee of ICPS. He also has CP himself and has recently been appointed, if I'm correct, the deputy chair of the French National Council for People with Disabilities. Matthieu, can I hand the floor to you?
Sure, no problem. So if you would allow me, I would share my screen, if that's okay with John.
Go for it.
So good morning to you all. I hope you're all sitting comfortably, and in case I would go too fast, please do not hesitate to tell me to slow down. As some of you know and might have guessed, I like to talk sometimes quite a lot. So I've done a PowerPoint presentation to give you an example of what we've done in France and what France was able to do and organize in response of the COVID-19 pandemic. Although I should probably add a disclaimer somewhere in there that I'm not speaking on behalf of the French government or any institutions, but that the opinions are my own and only reflect my own interest as an individual and position. So I've done a brief outline of the presentation to explain to you what we will discuss. So first of all, we will see the situation and explain the situation of persons who need a personal assistance in their day-to-day life to go about in their daily activities. And of course, it didn't stop with the COVID-19 pandemic. Then we will see why a whole of society response, meaning including and inclusive of everyone, is, in my opinion, the best approach to the challenges we have to tackle. And finally, I believe it's extremely useful to remember and to point that out to those with whom we interact, that in a society we are all citizens, human beings with an inherent dignity, and that we all matter, irrespectively of any disabilities or conditions one may have, such as cerebral palsy. So firstly, as John mentioned, I have cerebral palsy myself, and I rely on the 24 hours superb assistance of carers to help me in my day-to-day life, as well as to provide me with physical assistance in relation to my participation within society. So I think that without mutual trust, so meaning that people should be able to trust their PA or the person providing care if they are in a different setting, in as much as the PA should be able to trust them in return. It was quite surprising to see that at first really few things were planned in terms of masks and providing useful response to PAs. I mean, prioritizing them in certain sectors or for the support and equipment they may have needed. So that was quite surprising. And the only way we were able to cope was because basically people kind of went into lockdown with you. And so probably that's something that we should remember for next time, to be better prepared, and also to include more personnel than just those working in hospital. Because on one hand, it's very well to say that to have PAs and carers is a unique partnership and so on and so forth. But on the other hand, if the government and authorities aren't prepared, in certain instances, it might pose a problem to secure people in their employment over the long term. We should remember, I think, that disability is not like something bad or wrong, and it's not something which we have, but instead a condition or a status which is acquired because when someone was a deficiency, interact with the environment and face in practice many unadapted barriers, then we can't say that this environment is disability friendly. Public health is about protecting everyone everywhere. Sorry, so it wasn't acceptable that in certain countries, medics at times were thinking of, what they would do with a person who had the disabilities, who were admitted in major resuscitation unit or intensive care unit, whether they should give them treatment or not, because the answer should be a clear yes in all cases, as for everybody else. We had issues to understand also informations which were given by the government and authorities at the beginning, and I think that's why then a campaign was undertaken in that regard, and I will show you a few examples afterwards. Then an issue which is still very much with us thanks to the vaccine is the issue of consent, and how do we ensure that everybody is able to make informed choices, to understand and to be able to give back an informed consent, saying if they do wish to get that vaccine or not. And I think it's would be difficult to have an inclusive response if that response isn't personalized and tailored to the individual, wherever that individual may live. I think two final aspects and points I would like to focus on is the fact that, first of all, disabilities in themselves, and including cerebral palsy, are not contagious. So to other people and citizens, we should say, do not be afraid of us, because we are equally there for you and can do many activities with you and be there for you in as much as you are there for us. So just to show you a few resources of what we were able to, I think it should still open itself. Do you see something, or? I think it's loading.
We can see still your PowerPoint slide, but not.
You need to change the chair. Go to your zone definitions and change the share.
Yes, I need to stop sharing that document and share the new one. Okay, so share screen, and so first of all, that was to explain choices that people had when it came to whether or not they wanted to go out of lockdown. So which was done by the French Disability Council, and so basically to try and give simple instructions. These were done in French and also in English by another government department, and then to explain the risk with COVID, so on and so forth. And for people who were assisted by PAs, they were able like to tick boxes or whatever, so as to be able to make informed choices and be able to make better choices for themselves or their loved ones. Then it would probably not be appropriate to show something from a potential member of ICPS, which is still a candidate, so I won't do so. But the last thing I wanted to show was an example of the daily frequently asked questions, which were published by the government on a daily basis. So for each topic, persons with disabilities and their loved ones could find some support. So that's, for example, for families and carers. And there was also unique phone support system, which was set up throughout France, which is still working on at the moment. And that's it. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much indeed, Matthieu. I think it's now up to you to bring us back to the
I need
to the meeting, to stop sharing. Excellent, thank you. So you've given us a picture of the experience of a person with disability in France, in Europe. And what we would like to do now is to switch that focus completely to another part of the world with perhaps a different experience and an all more challenging one. And for that, we will turn to Matthieu, who is the Executive Director of the Cerebral Palsy Center in Lagos in Nigeria.